The San Antonio Spurs have a huge offseason in front of them because if they play their cards right, they could be the next NBA dynasty. Of course, they have Victor Wembenyama, who looks to be a top 5 player on both ends of the floor for the next 15 years. They just traded for De'Aaron Fox. Stephon Castle just won Rookie of the Year, and now they can go out and get the likes of Kevin Durant somewhat cheaply through trade because you have the future assets to do so. You also have the number 2 pick in the draft. And in my opinion, I'd go with the Thunder's formula, which seems to be working out pretty well right now, and just take best player available, go get Harper, and build you a dynasty. So the first step to this offseason plan would be going out and getting Kevin Durant, who is reportedly not going for as much as some people think. And that's fair. He's a 37-year-old on an expiring contract getting paid $54 million next year, but he's still coming off a season where he averaged 26.5 points, 6 rebounds, 4.2 assists on 53% shooting from the field, 43% from 3. He's still one of the best scorers in the game and one of the most unstoppable players in the game. He just hasn't been in the playoffs in a while. And if you're the Spurs, envision this as your starting lineup with KD and Victor Wembenyama as your starting front court. That immediately fixes an offense that was 16th in points per game last year and 19th in offensive rating, bringing in much needed efficiency, 3-point scoring, mid-range scoring. He's 6'11 with that 7'5 wingspan. Nobody on the planet Earth can contest him at his apex other than maybe like Victor Wembenyama. And according to some sources, they think this is already a done deal and they're just awaiting draft night to announce this to kind of throw a wrench in some other teams' plans. Kevin Durant and Victor Wembenyama in the front court would be the perfect duo, both outside scorers that can also get into the paint and attack the rim if needed. And you've got these 3 guys, including Vassell, spacing the floor for De'Aaron Fox and Stephon Castle, who are 2 phenomenal slashers. And that's just a match made in heaven right there with, like I said, the outside scoring but ability to get inside. And you have the picks to make this happen. You also have the 14th pick in this year's class on top of what is shown on the screen right now. If you're San Antonio, I think this is kind of a no-brainer. You're in that situation where you have the luxury to go out and do this. And unlike with a Giannis trade, you could keep your number 2 overall pick and go out there and get Harper, who in a lot of years would be the number 1 overall pick consensusly. He's 6'6", 215 pounds, so he's already got an NBA body, and he is the best in this class, hands down, at operating out of the pick and roll, which is essentially what the NBA is at its core today. You see the stats from last year, almost 20 points per game with about 5 boards and 4 assists, shot 48% from the field. Now, 33% from 3, alongside of De'Aaron Fox, who didn't shoot well, albeit he had a bad hand, and Stephon Castle, who's not a good shooter either. That might spell trouble early on until Harper can figure out his stroke or until Fox can get his back. But we're talking in 2 to 3 years, we have undoubtedly the best backcourt in the NBA, maybe one of the best in NBA history with these 3 guys, and Harper has, without a shadow of a doubt, the second highest floor in this class. This is a master at work right here. Watch how effortlessly he splits this screen as the Notre Dame defender gets up a little bit too high. He goes right between them and gets downhill for the 2-handed jam. And then right here, working one-on-one, little jab step, going to get to his spot and finish with the left hand. And then right now, he's going to counter that split earlier and hit a quick in and out, freeze the defender, and get a wide open lane to challenge a guard at the rim. Now, the defender does a decent job of fighting back, but he's still going to get little bodied by Harper. And then right here, he's going to split it again, but this time he's going to hit a quick push cross to get the defender on the wrong side of the screen, doesn't even need the screen, and then gets downhill and gets to his left hand. Like we said, the 3-point shooting is a work in progress. This is a good sign, however, as the lefty stroke it looks decently pure. He kind of shoots it from his hip, but 5.2 attempts per game on tough shots, you'll take it all day long. Now, looking at the cap situation for the Spurs, they are golden right now. This is before any potential Kevin Durant trades, so they would probably need to send some money back to Phoenix in this situation, but they are, $60 million above the second apron, $50 million above the first apron, or below, I should say. Keldon Johnson's on a 2-year, $35 million contract, so you send him back to Phoenix in this deal to kind of soften the blow it's going to take on your salary books, and he's averaging 12.7 points, 4.6 rebounds, and 1.6 assists last year on 26 minutes per game while shooting 48% 38% from the field and 32% from three. So it's not the biggest loss in the world. At best, he was going to be your 7th or 8th man this upcoming season. So, you can send him to Phoenix and it'll be all right. He never really panned out into what you wanted him to be anyways. Looking at free agency, and if you have a bag to spend, would it be crazy to say go out and get Miles Turner? Now, I expect him to re-sign in Indiana. I don't think there's any way they let go of him, but in theory, if you go get Miles Turner, you could throw like Wemby at the 4 and run some of the most demonish lineups of all time. Defensively, I don't know how that lineup would work. The interior defense would be good, but I don't know about the perimeter defense. 15.5 points a game, 6.5 boards, and an assist and a half with 2 blocks last year for Miles Turner on 48% shooting from the field, 40% from 3, about 5.5 attempts per game. So a really good season from him. Obviously, the Pacers are still playing in the NBA Finals right now, and like I said, I fully expect him to play for Indiana next year, so that's kind of a shot in the dark. A more realistic backup center option could be Luke Cornett. You can throw some money at him, maybe overpay a little bit on a 2-year deal and bring him in because, hey, he's a good backup center. He proved it this year in Boston. Averaged 6 points and about 5.5 rebounds with 1 block per game. He only played 16 minutes a night. Shot 67% from the field in 73 games played. So it could be a really good little 2-year deal for him to come in at 7'2". He's got that 7'6" wingspan. He can protect the rim behind Wemby, and that's one of your bigger needs this offseason is a backup big. So hey, Luke Cornett, bring him in. He's proven to be a winning player. He can protect the rim. He can facilitate a little bit. He can do a little bit of everything. Looking at the depth for next season, you still have Harrison Barnes, who is on a decent sized contract, but it is expiring after this season. He's averaging 12.3 points, 3.8 rebounds, and 1.2 assists per game so far as a Spur in 27 minutes on fantastic efficiency. This is the kind of efficiency you love to have surrounding your young core as they develop. As Harrison Barnes, he's the perfect role player for this Spurs team, and this is a Spurs team I 100% expect to take a step and make the playoffs next year. So you got to have guys like that, like Barnes, like Julian Champagnie, who last year averaged about 10 points per game, 4 rebounds, 1.4 assists, and 0.7 steals in 23 minutes a night. Shot 42% from the field and 37% from 3 on 5 attempts a game. So he's definitely a guy that you going forward, you keep him around. He's making $3 million a year for the next 2 years. Maybe the best value contract in the league if he continues to shoot 38% from 3 right there. Barnes is 6'8" with a 6'11 wingspan. Champagnie is 6'7" with a 6'10 wingspan. So 2 great 3-and-D guys to have coming off of your bench. They still have Devin Vassell, who I didn't even get to talk about. I thought he was going to take a big step forward this year. Instead, it was Wemby that took an even bigger step forward, but he's still going to be a nice number 3 or number 4 option on offense for them this year, on top of playing great defense. Speaking of great defense, there's Jeremy Sohan as well, who will probably come off the bench, but more than likely, if you go out and get KD, this is what your starting lineup looks like, with Fox, Castle, Vassell, Kevin Durant, and Victor Wembenyama, and that's a great starting lineup, offensively and defensively, if you can get a bounce-back season from 3 from De'Aaron Fox. If that happens, you're a playoff team because you got guys like Dylan Harper, Julian Champagnie, and Harrison Barnes, the 2 3-and-D guys, Jeremy Sohan, who is still a work in progress, and then you bring in Luke Cornett to shore up the backup center spot. Like I said, Miles Turner would be cool, but you're not going to pay him $30 million to come off the bench, and you're probably not going to run Miles Turner and Victor Wembanyama out there at the same time, especially if you have Kevin Durant, who at 37 isn't the best perimeter defender in the world anymore. But if you get KD to go with Victor Wembanyama and the rest of this young Spurs core, it could be really exciting, especially now that they have De'Aaron Fox, and I fully expect that team to make the playoffs. With that being said, that's going to be it for today's video. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure to the like button, leave me a comment down below, and hit the subscribe button if you did enjoy at any point. And with all that being said, thanks so much for watching today's video.